We've got to open up our schools. We've got to let our kids get an education again. Lori Lightfoot, furious, it seems, with the Chicago Teachers Union. So listen to Trey Gowdy's monologue last night on Fox News, recounting a story and tying it together with his wife, who apparently is an educator, and what's happening in cities like Chicago right now.
Several years ago, I was driving my daughter to school, and along the way, we passed a child walking. The backpack was bigger than he was. It wasn't a road most kids would be walking on, and the kids that did live on that road, well, they didn't have to walk to school. I looked at that child in the rearview mirror as we passed him, moving as fast as his little feet would go. I dropped our daughter off, but I couldn't get the image of that child out of my mind. So instead of turning towards the courthouse, I went back towards him. And there he was, still walking down the road. I pulled up beside him, rolled the window down, and said, "Don't be afraid. I have children about your age, too. Do you need a ride somewhere? Where are you trying to get to, son?" He called the name of the school, and it was a school miles and miles away. I said, "Son, you're not going to make it walking. Do you want a ride?" He didn't answer, and frankly, I didn't blame him. Here was this strange man asking him to get in the car, and I said, "Son, I'm not going to hurt you, but by the time you get to school, it will be over. Let me help you." He got in the car and said, "My mom overslept. I missed the bus, but I didn't want to miss school." I did the math in my head. That child had already been walking for about an hour, and he had hours yet to go. But that was how bad he wanted to be in school. That is the power of education. It can change your life. It can change generations of lives after yours. Even at his young age, this child understood the power of education. My wife teaches first grade. She gets up every morning at 4 a.m. to go teach other people's children. I would rather roof houses in July barefoot than teach 6-year-olds. I couldn't do it. She loves it. She has never once said a word about her own health during this pandemic. She puts on her mask and she goes to school because she loves the children and she knows the power of education. And every day missed hurts the children. I want you to contrast that with what is happening in Chicago and other places where it seems like the teachers have all the time in the world for dance videos and union meetings, but no time for the children. And they can give you all the reasons not to go back in the classroom, but they can't seem to find a single reason to go back in the classroom. Teaching is hard work, even without a pandemic. It's hard work, I get it. But if you don't want to teach, go do something else. John Kerry and Kamala Harris and Mayor Pete, they got lots of employment advice. You can go build solar panels. You can go clear landmines. I wonder what advice they have for the teachers in Chicago who aren't willing to follow the science and go back to the classroom. I want you to keep this dichotomy in your mind. The image of a young boy walking to school for hours, getting in the car with a stranger because he understood the power of education to change his life. And now contrast that with the image of those dancing teachers in Chicago. That child knew the power of education and being in school. I wish the teachers in Chicago knew as much as he did.
That's powerful. And he's right. He's right. 800-655-MIKE. Let's get your reaction. Here's the Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot begging the Chicago teachers, please go back to work.
And as the expression goes, the proof is in the pudding. CPS had 3 weeks of successful implementation of these mitigation plans in our schools. That was until the CTU blew up that success and created chaos that we are now enduring. And also remember, the CPS staff and principals have been in our schools throughout this pandemic, feeding our kids, getting them ready for the return of students, and continuing the hard work every single day. And
what are the Chicago teachers doing?
There are teachers.
They're making dancing videos. They're by themselves on Zoom dancing and laughing and seemingly mocking the kids they're hurting. Unreal. It's disgraceful. Every last one of them. It's a disgrace, and everybody knows it.